The human body is made up of at least 80% water. And some new research suggests it may be made up of at least 98% water. There is no metabolic process that can happen without water. So that means we can't eat, sleep, digest, or even think without water. So that's why it's really important that the water we drink be totally pure and clean. In 2003, Peter Agre was awarded the Nobel Prize for discovering something called an aquaporin channel, which is like the plumbing that the cell uses to bring water into its nucleus. And the only way that our cells can receive water through these channels is one molecule at a time. Otherwise, our body has to expend a lot of energy to break the water down to get it into the cell. Have you ever experienced drinking tons of water but still feeling dehydrated? That usually has to do with the surface tension in the water. There's a measurement called dynes, and the cells of our body can't take in water that is over 46 dynes. But most tap and bottled water are between 72 and 84 dynes. That basically means that the cluster of molecules is twice the size of what the cells of the body can take in directly. What the natural action water does is it uses a double vortex to almost dance the water molecules apart, so they're structured in such a way that they can enter directly into your cells to be able to nourish your body and your life force. One of the other things that science is beginning to point to is that water has memory. It's like a computer that maintains the energetic imprint of everything that it passes through and around. Nature has a beautiful hydrological system. Water evaporates. It comes down as rain. It goes into the lakes and ponds and onto the ground. Then it evaporates again, and it keeps repeating this process. And each time it does it, it structures the water. But unfortunately, the air on the planet has become toxic. As water comes down into the atmosphere, it picks up the toxicity of everything that's around it and brings it into the lakes and streams and builds on the toxicity over and over again. So we get these huge clusters of water molecules. And remember, our cells can't take in that huge cluster of water molecules. It can only take in one molecule at a time. So we need to expend a ton of energy to break down that cluster. Clayton Nolte, the inventor of the natural action technology, uses the analogy that the amount of energy that it would take to break down that cluster is the same amount of energy that you could use to light up an entire house for a month. So already, because of pollution, we're going to have these large clusters that don't normally occur. But with city water, it's even worse. Cities don't let water go back to nature. They reprocess it, sometimes 20 times with chemicals, and put it back into the system over and over again before it evaporates and goes back into the ground. All of these chemicals and processes create clusters that are anywhere from 1,000 to even 10,000 times too large for our cells to process. And then the body has to spend massive amounts of energy to break these clusters down into a usable form. The natural action technology erases this memory from the water and allows the water to return to its pristine state. So the water is now in smaller clusters so that it can enter directly into the cell with no energy expended at all. It uses the water as its only moving part to create a double vortex to recode the water molecule, in essence, resetting the DNA of the water. One way to understand this idea of water retaining memory is to look at a study that was done in Germany where they dehydrated tap water. And when you dehydrate water, what's left are calcium salts and a few other elements. So what they did is they looked at the mineral imprint of the calcium, and what they found was that it had a 90-degree angle. This was the tap water. Then they looked at structured water, and they found that the structured water actually had a 60-degree angle. In the picture on the left, you can see the angles of the natural action water show mostly 60-degree angles. This means that all toxins have been neutralized, and basically the memory of the water has been erased. The tap water on the right shows almost exclusively 90-degree angles, meaning that the water is still holding on to all the toxins. So that's the difference between the structured water and the unstructured water. So what does this mean for us? The 60-degree angle demonstrates that even when toxins like fluoride or chlorine are still present in the water, the energetic imprint has been erased. So the toxins pass straight through your body's elimination system. So again, the charge of the toxins is gone, and the toxins never enter our bloodstream or our organs. When you filter water, all you're doing is taking the physical components out of the water. But if you think about when you eat an apple, what is it that's actually remaining in your body? And the answer is the energy, not the physical components. So everything physical that we eat or drink comes out of your elimination system. Everything physical that we eat or drink comes out of the elimination system. So when you're filtering the water, you may be taking the physical toxins out, but the energy of the toxins is still remaining. So the difference between structuring water and filtering water is that when you structure the water, you might not even need to take the physical components out because you're taking the energetic components out, and that's the thing that remains. So that's the thing that's the most harmful. Some people still like to filter their water because filtering the water will actually eliminate some physical components that may enhance the taste of the water. So if you're already filtering the water, you can continue to do that. But what I like to do is make sure that the water is structured, because that's when I can ensure that the energy and the memory of all the toxins has been eliminated.